you're going to elect a woman who's got a terrible record and then won't do a darn thing? I don't think so. But the media keeps glorifying her. They can't help themselves. I guess they're really vested in this. Take a look at the New York Times headline that made me want to throw up last night. They had this thing sitting up there for some 24 hours. What drives Kamala Harris? The art of the possible. Da-dun-dun! Oh, goodness gracious. So this was, last night ahead of her assuming the podium. Do you think that Trump's ever going to get anything like that? I mean, there's no way. There's no way. Donald Trump gets no love from the media whatsoever. And I don't think he really cares. I mean, some of the conservative media, of course, it's different. They've kind of come up in part in defiance. I mean, what I would consider myself, I guess, part of that. I wouldn't have necessarily going into all this, right? I'm actually a registered independent because, hey, you want to cut taxes? You want to grow our economy? You want to secure the border and you want to keep us safe? You got my vote. I don't have to be partisan in that respect. However, given what they have done the antithesis of all the good things that were put in place during the Trump administration years, from economic policy to border policy to a policy of strength via peace. All of that got undone. And it's amazing how quickly that can happen. I mean, think about it. I mean, Donald Trump had 1.7% inflation that he handed off to Joe Biden. And what did we see? Oh dear, this. 51% increases in gasoline, 32% in electricity, airfare up 23%, groceries overall up 22%, eggs up 47%, car insurance up more than 50%. I mean, this is wild stuff. And yet they're going to give her an A+ report card? I don't think so. They're completely, totally delusional, and they keep buying their own BS. What drives Kamala Harris? The art of the possible. Hey, lady, come right on back down to reality, okay? We need you in reality, because the reality is things sort of suck. All right? Like, they just kind of stink right now. And even Maxine Waters, my goodness, even she is admitting, maybe they didn't do the best job, you think?
They see that their lives have been a little bit difficult. Rent's too high. They don't have 20% for a down payment on a home. On and on and on. We've got to do a better job.
Yeah, you bet you got to do a better job, lady. I like how she says they, like I'm up here and you're down there. And okay, the people, Marie Antoinette, let them eat cake. Maxine Waters, along with Nancy Pelosi, talking about, how the people feel. The people feel. Yeah, the people feel pretty screwed by you guys because you have done nothing to contain inflation. You've done everything. That good old Inflation Reduction Act, which sent prices through the roof. And anybody who had taken a single class in economics could have told you that one. We saw it from a mile away. I saw it from like 1,000 miles away. And yet, Kamala Harris gets up on stage and says she's going to reduce inflation. Okay, you had that chance. That she believes in America. She's handing out red, white, and blue flags everywhere. She's got the Dixie Chicks singing off tune. Oh my goodness, that was a whole scary episode. And then you get this guy over on ABC News trying to sell you this bunch of you-know-what.
Donald Trump has tried to define her. They talk about her, the Republicans, the Trump Republicans, as a San Francisco liberal, as a radical. They call her Comrade Kamala. But she gave a speech, George, that if you take out that section on abortion rights, much of this speech could have been delivered at a Republican convention before Trump. She talked tough on Iran. She promised that as commander-in-chief, America would have the most lethal and strongest fighting force in the world. She talked tough on Russia, on China. She talked about border security. She really gave a speech that was designed to go at independents, moderates, disaffected Republicans, the vast majority of undecided voters in the country. A very interesting move and quite a contrast from the way she ran for president the first time when she tried to get the nomination 4 years ago. This is a Kamala Harris that sounded a little bit more like Maggie Thatcher or Ronald Reagan, especially on national security, than like Bernie Sanders.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Really? Is that what you heard? Well, if you heard that, it's because it's all a whole bunch of lies. Lies that even RFK Jr. has seen through with his own two eyes and articulated so brilliantly just moments ago.
I'm sorry to keep everybody waiting. 16 months ago, in April of 2023, I launched my campaign for President of the United States. I began this journey as a Democrat, the party of my father, my uncle, the party which I pledged my own allegiance to long before I was old enough to vote. I attended my first Democratic convention at the age of 6 in 1960. And back then, the Democrats were the champions of the Constitution, of civil rights. The Democrats stood against authoritarianism, against censorship, against colonialism, imperialism, and unjust wars. We were the party of labor, of the working class. The Democrats were the party of government transparency and the champion of the environment. Our party was the bulwark against big money interests and corporate power. True to its name, it was the party of democracy. As you know, I left that party in October because it had departed so dramatically from the core values that I grew up with. It had become the party of war, censorship, corruption, big pharma, big tech, big ag, and big money. When it abandoned democracy by canceling the primary to conceal the cognitive decline of the sitting president, I left the party to run as an independent.
Yes, he did. He did indeed. And now he's in a position where he can actually do a lot of good to try and prevent Donald Trump from winning. You know, his vice president spoke about this recently before this news all came out. Incidentally, one of the reasons he had to come forward with like the big announcement was because it got leaked when he filed the documents. This is what Nicole Sheridan, the woman who was at the top of the ticket with him, was talking about just earlier in the week. I want you to take a listen.
There's two options that we're looking at, and one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Walt's presidency because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump, or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and you know, we walk away from that and we explain to our base why we're making this decision. Not easy.
Clearly.
Yeah, not an easy decision.
Not an easy decision at all, but I think ultimately and he explained this, what the issue became was that there was really no way, if you would, to possibly continue on having this campaign so robust with, you know, all of this stuff. He couldn't go back to the donors and ask for more money and ask everybody to work when he realized ultimately that he might be actually helping to succeed in getting Kamala Harris elected, which in his estimation and in his vice president's estimation is not good news for anybody. So very, very big development in this wild, wild election. I mean, this is kind of incredible. It's just incredible. And I was saying to people, because I can feel it, right? Like I know when you guys are like, oh, and like people are messaging me saying, there's no way, there's no way, there's no way. Look at what's going on. Sure, I get it. Like things were maybe like seeming like they were sucking all the oxygen out of the room, but that was by design. They're trying to do this and they're trying to make you feel deflated. I'm like, no. You need something to kind of rally around. Well, RFK Jr. just gave it. This is a tipping point. And you know what? You don't have to take my word for it. You can go right back to the markets. You can go right back to Polymarket, which is now predicting, guess what? Donald Trump is going to win the presidency of the United States. Now, again, these things could shift. I caution, these things could indeed shift. But this was before. Okay, you see him, he was still in the lead, 50-49, and then this was immediately as the news came out. I suspect that those numbers will continue rallying even higher, 52-48. Just really, really amazing to see. You know what? When there's real money on the line, it matters. Speaking of real money, I want to just give a shout out for everyone that hasn't subscribed to my financial research newsletter to take a look at 76 Research right now. This is a newsletter that I started in conjunction with my dear longtime friend, Rob Horton, who is brilliant as a stock picker and has spent 2 decades running billions of dollars on Wall Street. And I said, Rob, you know what? We got to do something. We got to do something for everyday folks that aren't invested enough. You know, you're thinking maybe through my retirement fund, maybe through my pension fund. It's not enough, guys. Whatever you can do on the margin to be putting money every single week into the markets, I do feel very strongly will ultimately pay off. And you know what? It's going to pay off way bigger than anything else you could possibly do. The question is, how do you start? What do you do? This is why I created 76 Research, 76research.com. Right now, you can get this stock picks, basically, for just $1 a month. I'm going to see if I can put this up on the screen. Just $1. Use code DOLLAR right now. Code word dollar, DOLLAR. Do that because it's $1 a month. And you know what? If you don't like it, you can cancel. And it's only $1 a month for the first 2 months. It goes to $9.95. Anyway, it's an introductory rate. I can't urge you enough to do this. There are 3 different model portfolios for you, where you get 10 to 15 stocks. In each one of those, there's an inflation protection portfolio. There's a basic income builder portfolio for those of you that want to be living off of dividends, for example. And then there's an American resilience portfolio if you're more on the growth trajectory. So use code word dollar. Get the 76 report today. You can go to 76report.com, or you can go to 76research.com. It is really, really important that you take all this stuff into consideration today for your future. I mean it. I mean it. By the way, you can also follow us on our @76 Research channel. That is our other YouTube channel. And then you get some good, really one-on-one time with me and Rob, because it's a small little channel. We just started. It's very, very dedicated to investing and finance and all those good things. But you'll learn a lot. So go take a look at 76 Research.